음악이라는 아름다운 쉼이 있는 곳, 사랑스러운 나무 그늘과도 같은 쉼터로 여러분을 초대합니다. 옴브라 마이프, 저는 진행을 맡은 소프라노 임선혜입니다. 달 밝은 밤, 연인의 집 창가에서 기타나 만돌린을 켜면서 세레나데를 부르는 영화 한 장면을 가슴 설레며 봤던 기억이 있는데요. 사랑을 갈구하는 남자의 애절함을 한층 달콤하고 유혹적으로 들리게 해주는 건 만돌린의 매력 덕분이 아니었을까 싶습니다. 우리에게 조금 낯설 수도 있지만 그 만돌린의 매력을 전 세계에 알리면서 만돌린 연주자 최초로 그래미상 후보에까지 이름을 올린 분이 있습니다. 만돌리니스트 아비 아비탈님을 모셨습니다. Welcome to Ombra Maifu, Avi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. What a pleasure.
I mean, you played last night, and
Yes.
this morning, and tonight you have a concert,
Exactly.
another concert,
Yes.
and just in between you took a time for us.
Lovely way to spend my free morning.
Wow,
Together with
that's
you.
really nice of you. Could you introduce yourself to our viewers and audience through that camera?
Hello everyone, my name is Avi Avital. I'm a mandolin player and I'm here now in Seoul for concerts and for being on your show.
Bravo. It was an amazing concert last night.
Thank you.
I was there and people were just so happy. And I think many people wondered, is it a classical instrument? Really? And I have to confess also, before I met you, I thought, oh my God, really? There are concertos for mandolin? I didn't know.
Yes, this is quite an unusual instrument in the landscape of classical music and concert stages, but it was always there. The mandolin is an Italian instrument from the Baroque time, but of course it evolves from different instruments. I mean, if you think of it, everywhere there is a black string instrument. It's a universal concept.
That's true. I prepared. This is Korean instrument.
Oh, wow.
Hyangbipa
Beautiful.
is the name. It's quite a
five
long
strings?
time ago. 5 strings, and there are similar instruments from China, but it had 4 strings. But
That's right.
like you
Exactly.
said,
Really, if you go through every culture in the world, there's always a traditional black string instrument. It's quite a intuitive concept. It comes in the evolution of musical instruments. It comes quite at the beginning. But the mandolin as a Western classical instrument is evolving from different Renaissance instruments from France, from the Orient, from Spain, into the mandolin. And it becomes very popular as an amateur instrument.
after work, after school,
After
like
school,
this.
after work, to learn music, to sing along with it. I think the beginning, the first phase, the entry point is very quick.
Really?
Yes. You want to try?
I would love to. Are you sure? Oh my God.
Look,
This is
you just
Avi's
hold it.
mandolin. All right.
You hold the peak
That's
on
the
this hand.
peak.
and
Okay.
you just strum it, you know? You see? You made
Okay,
sound.
it's very different to like you played yesterday. But I watched some of your videos, and you told there is C chord and G is not very.
Great.
They are not
Nice.
very
So if you
difficult.
put this finger here,
The first fret.
yes, and the second flat here, and this should be a G major chord. Oh. You see?
Hey.
This
and-
is after 20 seconds of playing the mandolin.
Wow.
Can you do it with a clarinet? No.
No.
There you go. That's my point. And C is just
might
you
be
move
just
these
up.
2 hands. Exactly.
Like this?
Look at you.
Maybe my nails are too long.
Exactly.
Wow.
There you go.
You're right.
Next time I play in Korea, we do a duet.
All right, then you sing? All right.
Yeah.
So That's right. This is not
Very
very
good.
difficult to put at the entry. But like what I heard last night,
Okay, well,
that was totally different
that
thing.
required a bit of practicing.
What
I
a
agree.
technique you introduced us. It was amazing. In Korea, after school, many kids play ukulele.
Yes.
But this is from the guitar, right? I guess this is like
Again,
the guitar.
it's a black string instrument, the
That's
guitar, the ukulele. This was the mandolin in Italy in the Baroque. Something you hang on the wall, you come back, you play a little bit, you go to a trip, you take it in your bag.
Right.
Something not very committing and not like you have to practice the violin or the cello for hours every day. It was something like that.
It's a casual instrument.
Casual instrument.
That's why we could not imagine it has been a classical instrument. But of course, I remember when I sang Mozart opera Don Giovanni,
Oh yes,
there is a scene, Don Giovanni sings the serenade,
exactly.
and it's accompanied by mandolin.
Yes,
Do you
it's this
remember?
one, yeah.
Wow, exactly. So I remember one of our violin player, probably he happened to learn mandolin somewhere, and he entered to the scene and he played mandolin.
You know, this is genius. Mozart chose the mandolin for this moment in the opera. So the song is called De vieni alla finestra, come to the window. So Don Giovanni is trying to tempt a girl to come to the window
As
and he
always.
serenades her. But we know Don Giovanni,
Yeah,
he's not so innocent, right? But the mandolin that Mozart chooses for this moment in the opera is the symbol of exactly that young lady that he wants to tempt. Because the mandolin at that time is more associated with a well-educated, noble well-off young lady, a little bit like the harp. That was the instrument that the well-educated young ladies would play and would learn music through. So in the hands of practically the young lady he wants to tempt is already in Don Giovanni's hands while he serenades. And that is why he chooses the mandolin that symbolizes that kind of social context.
That's genius, right?
Yes, it is. And it's almost the only time that Mozart uses the mandolin. He didn't write a mandolin concerto, he didn't write a mandolin sonata.
No, that's the only thing.
But he also has two other small small songs for mandolin and soprano. Should we?
Oh my God, I have to tell them. 제가 어제 공연을 보고 나서 혹시나 싶어서 아비에게 이메일을 보냈어요. 혹시 이 노래 알아? 그러면서 왜냐하면 폴 베글렌느라는 프랑스 시인의 시 중에 제목이 만돌린인 시가 있었어요. 그 만돌린이라는 시가 굉장히 유명해서 뭐 포레, 드뷔시, 그 많은 프랑스 작곡가들이 작곡을 했거든요. 그래서 그걸 하나 알면 우리가 그걸 좀 재미삼아 해볼까? 했더니 오늘 No, actually there is one or two Mozart songs for mandolin and soprano. 근데 제가 그 노래를 한 번 부른 적이 있거든요. 독창회 때 앙코르로 부른 적이 있는데 그 노래를 한번 Should we?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Of course.
Sag mir an meiner Stadt, ich darf's mir noch nicht klagen, wie sehr ich für sie mein Herz verzehrt, für sie mein Herz Great! What an honor to sing this piece with the...
For me, my goodness, you sing so beautifully. Thank you.
Wow, have you heard that? Thank you so much. So our little premiere is done.
Went well.
Exactly. So I read somewhere Beethoven has also mandolin
Yes,
in his
exactly.
home, and he's hanging his mandolin beside of his piano. Is right?
Beethoven wrote 4 little pieces for mandolin and piano.
Really?
Yes. And he wrote them for a countess, a young lady, again,
Noble
exactly,
lady.
by the name of Josephine von Clary. She was in Prague, a wealthy family that was also sponsoring Beethoven and used to come visit them
From time to
time to time. And the young Beethoven, 20 years old, falls in love with Josephine von
What
Clary,
else?
of course. And she, of course, plays the mandolin. So he wrote these 4 pieces dedicated to her. It actually says on the manuscript, Pour la belle J.C., also in initials. So it's a little secret going on there. And I don't think he ever thought that they will be found and published and performed, all over the world. But they were just like 4 little love letters. And actually, in terms of mandolin music, it's quite simple, it's quite easy. So I think this Josephine von Clary must be very beautiful. Not the best mandolin player.
Oh,
he
really?
wrote a very easy part for her.
Because it was very simple and easy to play.
But the piano part is very virtuosic. I think he wanted
For
to
him.
impress her. They played together. And
Maybe.
he's like,
Exactly, and just a little bit. Nice. But for the classical music, there are other composers who really has written the concerto for mandolin. Who are them? They are.
So there are a few. Actually, Vivaldi wrote a couple of mandolin concertos.
Oh my God! You have to play a little bit of
Yes.
the most famous
Oh, yes.
Vivaldi concerto
That's
for mandolin.
iconic. It goes like this. And so on.
Oh my God! I mean, we know this piece.
Yes, it was used in several films. I can't remember, Kramer versus Kramer, I think. Or it was used in some films, and it's what you would recognize for Vivaldi and the mandolin.
Exactly.
But but only 2 concertos. I think always when a composer from the classical music canon, when they write for the mandolin, it is for a reason. As you see, Beethoven wrote it for someone who was in love. Mozart wrote it because of a reference. There's always, even later on, when Mahler uses the mandolin in the 8th Symphony and the 7th Symphony, he wants to use sounds that are outside of the concert hall. He uses many other instruments, inside the symphony.
Right.
But the idea is to have a color, a sound that is not the typical, the normal concert stage instrument. That's in the case of Mahler.
That's true. But last night, I listened to, there was this title, Bach Concerto for Mandolin. Is it original?
Of course
not. Bach never has
Not
written
even one
any.
note. Nothing.
It's a pity.
I know.
So you made it?
So we do arrangements, yeah. I think all my life I played the arrangement because I thought, because the mandolin was, again, this amateur instrument and so on and so forth, the main classical composers didn't bother to write for the little instrument.
It's not the major instrument.
Exactly,
or
it's
something.
the ukulele of the time. But it didn't stop me for playing music that I find beautiful and Bach. I think almost every concert I play there is a piece by Bach because the music is so divine. And
So
it goes beyond an instrument. I think with Bach is a good example for a composer that the pieces, if you play on other instrument, is still recognizably Bach and still have an impact. Yeah.
Ah, right. So in those arrangements, who does this arrangement? Because I know that you do a lot yourself.
Yes, that's true. The mandolin is tuned like the violin. The open strings are E, A, D.
Oh, it's the same actually, like a violin.
Exactly the same.
It means violin players, they can play mandolin without big problem?
Right hand is the different.
Ah.
But yeah, here is the same. The mandolin has 2 strings of each.
They sound the same,
They sound the same.
but they have 2.
Exactly. It's like inside a piano. It is just the sound of it is a little bit bigger in volume.
For the volume.
For the character of the sound, let's say. If I break a string, I can still play, but it would sound very thin.
Oh, right.
So with 2 strings,
but
it's a little bit.
sometimes it breaks.
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
So because of that, a lot of the violin repertoire is theoretically possible to play on the mandolin. So I don't really do an arrangement. I take the score. It's exactly the same like a violin would play it on the left hand.
It's amazing. This instrument is actually so small. It's around 60 centimeters maybe.
Yeah.
But it makes immediately an atmosphere. But very different. Whatever you play, it changed whole
Nice.
environment. So the air of, totally different airs. Maybe that's the most attractive point you fell in love with that mandolin?
I think so. I remember when I first saw a mandolin, it was at the apartment of my neighbor. And like you did before, I gave you a mandolin and you immediately made sound. And I remember as a kid, it was there, sitting, laying on a table, and as every kid, you go, and you do like this, and it's, wow, there is sound. You can say it about the piano as well. You press the key, there is sound, but you don't see the mechanism inside. Here, you really produce the sound by plucking. And that was extremely magical for me as a kid, and still is. There is something about plucking a string that is so, there's nothing in between. That is just so wonderful and magical and sweet.
I read you were only 5 years old when you first saw this instrument and started to learn it.
Yes, I learned it a little bit later.
8?
I started when I was 8. I went to the local conservatory to study the mandolin. Again, the same school that my neighbor went, and there was a youth orchestra.
Really?
So kids playing together mandolin. Again, all amateur after-school activity, but it was wonderful.
You liked it. And
loved it.
Your brother or your family members, they do play also mandolin?
No, none of them.
Only you.
No one is playing music in my family.
Ah, right. You're the only one. Hey, me too.
You too?
Yeah, me
All right, amazing.
Okay. And then you decide to study this instrument as a major.
I never really chose it as a profession. Again, it's a mandolin. It wasn't, my teachers never thought it will become anyone's profession. But there was this local, when I was 17, there was a local competition, music competition. So my teacher said, okay, you have to do this competition. And I did it, and I got a first prize. And said,
is this Aviv competition?
That's before the Aviv competition, exactly. There was a local competition, and then they said if you won this competition, you should go to the Aviv competition, the national competition.
That's a big one, right?
And so I went there, and again, I won the first prize, and then my teacher said, maybe you should go to study this.
But I've heard,
professional.
in this competition, you were the first mandolin player who got the prize.
Yes.
It means you compete
with violins, with piano.
It's not only for mandolin, but for all these. But then you won.
Yes.
Among all other instruments. So that was a sign, actually.
There was a sign. Someone decided that I need to make it my life.
Wow.
And then I went to the music academy in Jerusalem. That's already a degree. Yes.
Right, amazing. Well, you need a sign, you know, because like you said, even though you love this instrument, but then you really cannot think immediately to make the
Yes.
professional out of it.
Exactly, because there was no example. There were, for violinists, there were professional violinists, soloists. For pianists, the same. You have competitions, you have repertoire, you have people that have done it before you. And then maybe it's weird about music instrument because it always starts as a hobby, as something that you do after school, maybe a bit of education. I know how I force my son to practice.
You do.
Of course, not too much, not too much.
Well done.
But it's not for him to become a professional pianist.
No.
I don't know. To enjoy music because it's a great gift, right? But there is a part for us professional musicians that it turns from a hobby to your life, to your profession, to your career, to your path, to your choice.
Luckily,
Yes,
sometimes.
yes, I feel very
yeah.
grateful, as I'm sure you do. And it's not clear when this moment
Right.
turns from playing to yourself in the room, enjoying it, and playing to others in concert halls.
You said before there was no example, actually. That's why you could not really imagine. But now you became an example.
I
For
hope
the
so,
people
yes.
who love, who love mandolin, and you make people, it's possible to do like
I
that.
think so. This year, 2023, was actually in Germany. Every year they declare the instrument of the year.
Right.
So every year they choose, the Ministry of Culture, I guess, in the different regions, they choose one instrument to focus educational activity, concerts, they learn about it in school and so on. And this year was the mandolin.
And this is because Avi Avital, I'm sure. I'm really, really sure.
And they made me the ambassador for this. And I think and I had to think, what is my message? And I think I wanted to encourage everyone to consider, because this is is a great after work, after school instrument that everyone can enjoy. And you don't need to become a soloist and a professional,
exactly.
but it's just such a rewarding. And I wanted to, to pass the gift that I had as a kid, learning this instrument, being able to be quite quickly to play in my orchestra. Although I didn't play very good, but it was enough to. In my first years.
Right.
But it was enough to play in an orchestra and to enjoy everyone's sound and the result of it. And so I really encourage a lot of people, pick a mandolin, join your local orchestra. Also here in Seoul, there's a mandolin orchestra.
Yeah.
And I have to say that a lot of people wrote me that they started to learn the mandolin, and they enjoy it very much.
You encourage people a lot. Yes, true. But then if I see how you play, it's very creative and different than I thought or I ever seen. And I read it's probably because one of your first teacher. Right?
Yes,
Your technique is different?
Totally. There was another chain of coincidence that when I started to learn in Be'er Sheva, in my school, the teacher, I was one of his last students. He was already old when I studied with him. But when he started to teach the mandolin, that was in the 70s, in the 1970s, in Be'er Sheva. And this teacher, his name is Simcha Natanzon, and he came from, back then, from the Soviet Union to Israel. But he was a violin virtuoso. He was
not a mandolin player at the beginning?
He didn't know anything about a mandolin.
No.
He
But
was
virtuoso violinist?
He was a great violinist. And he came to my town, to Be'er Sheva, and he wanted a job as a violin teacher, of course. But in the local conservatory, they told him, we already have a violin
we don't
teacher.
need anymore.
We don't need another one. But we're looking for a mandolin teacher. So if you want a job, you can teach the mandolin. And he said, okay.
Whatever, I need a job. So he had to learn.
He taught himself how to play the mandolin, and then he taught, yes, and one of the funny things is that he taught himself completely wrong. And he taught me and all my colleagues a completely wrong technique, which I'm still using.
Right.
So for example, all over the world, you hold a pick like this, right? Between the thumb and the finger, like this. And this is how you pluck.
It's pointing.
Yes.
Right.
But I hold it like this.
Ooh.
Just a different way.
It's
and if you go around the world and you see a mandolin player holding the pick like this, you ask, you're from Be'er Sheva? He will say yes. Because only this teacher, because he saw a pick, he said how to hold it like this. And it actually had some wisdom in it, because this position allows several things, technically, that this position is not allowing. I cannot even. So this can have much better speed. Wow. It depends, because he just didn't know. And the moral of this is that sometimes Simcha Natan Zon was not conditioned, not by the tradition, not by the traditional technique, and not by the traditional repertoire. For him, he wanted to teach violin. So when we were in the class, he had in mind we were holding mandolins, but in his head, it was violin.
This is the violin.
This is the violin. So this is why we played all the Bach sonatas and partitas and all the violin repertoire and the big concertos and Saint-Saëns, Rondo Capriccios, all the violin repertoire. And it was very lucky, because if Simcha Natan Zon had taught us only the mandolin repertoire, it would stay in a lower level, because the mandolin, again, as an amateur original instrument, the repertoire is not so evolved, is not so difficult technically. And so I think that's how he kind of jumped the fence, just because they had a violin teacher and he couldn't teach the violin.
But that fact brought you here,
yes.
And brought you here, of course, as a mandolin player, world famous, and you are the first mandolin player who were nominated in Grammy Award.
Yes.
And it was 2010
yes,
already.
Already some time ago. Yeah.
Wow. Which piece was that? Because it was a solo instrument.
Yes, it was exactly.
With the orchestra playing, right?
Best soloist of the year or something like that. And it was a concerto actually by Avner Dorman, who's an Israeli composer. He wrote for me this concerto, we recorded it, and this recording was up for a Grammy, again competing with, this time, Mitsuko Ushida took the Grammy with Mozart Piano Concerto.
Oh.
Well deserved, but I was very honored to be in this.
Wow, this is amazing. But it was the time that you were already in Berlin, or you were in Italy?
I was already in Berlin.
Yes. Okay, because I've heard you studied after in Israel, you went to Italy?
Exactly. So after studying in Israel with Simcha Natan Zon, and also in the music academy, also they didn't have a mandolin teacher. And again, I studied with a violin professor of the music academy. And when after I got a degree, I said okay, I'm going to be a professional mandolin player, but I've never learned with a mandolin teacher. I always had violin teachers. So it's a bit weird. And then I decided to go to Italy, the homeland, the motherland of the mandolin, to find a real teacher, a real professor for the mandolin. And I did. His name is Ugo Orlandi. He's someone, he did a lot of research about the mandolin, traditional techniques and repertoire. He spent a lot of time in music libraries around Italy, just digging out.
He's a researcher.
Exactly. And this is what I want to learn. This was the piece in the puzzle that I wanted to
Not only the violin repertoire, but original mandolin.
I still play with my weird technique and the violin repertoire. Everything has stayed, but I added one more layer to my studies, and I spent time in Italy, and Italy is a wonderful place to be an artist, to grow as an artist, because
Of course.
everything is about beauty and everything is aesthetic. This was very good 8 years of living in Italy, learning the culture, the language, and then I decided to move to Berlin. As you know, Berlin is, I always say, if Florence is beautiful, Berlin is interesting. And this is why exactly I wanted to move to Berlin, because the action was there, the creativity.
It's very open.
It's very open and things are new. In Italy is beautiful, but it's the tradition. It's the Baroque.
Proud of
exactly, and they should be proud of their tradition. And in Berlin, I had a feeling that stuff that is new is being
welcome,
invented and welcome and encouraged. And playing the mandolin again, it fitted me. I needed this energy of acceptance of something that is unusual.
I'm so happy. I mean, we know each other quite for a long time, and we met in Verbia. I guess it's been already many years, and it's also not the first time you visit in Korea.
That's right.
And but we never had a real chance to talk like that much. It's a great opportunity for me to ask many questions I had before.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you so much. So my next question is, so you said you learned violin repertoires and then also original mandolin repertoires, but you have commissioned over 100 pieces and you premiered all of them.
Yes.
And this is really, it's a record.
Yes, well, it is important for me because I came to a realization, why didn't composers in the canon of classical music never wrote music for the mandolin?
They never seen anybody.
Probably,
right?
Exactly. It wasn't a concert instrument, and I thought this thing should be changed. And so my mission is to create quality repertoire that in 100 years the mandolin players will have, a lot of repertoire to play. And I'm very proud of it. I commissioned a lot of pieces, as you mentioned.
Sure. I mean, now they are all come to you and ask, I would love to write for your instrument. But at the very beginning, you have probably, how did you approach to those composers?
Wow, it started with all my professors in the music academy who are composers, one by one. I can be very pursued. So
Great.
And I think that was the thing that led me. Even the recent compositions that I commissioned from high-profile composers took a lot of years, took a lot of convincing. I remember there is Jennifer Higdon.
Yes.
She is an American composer. She won a Pulitzer Prize. She has 3 Grammys. She's very popular in the United States, all over the world. So she's very much on demand. Everyone wants her to write.
Yes,
something.
the queuing. Long.
And for many years, I asked her, write a mandolin concerto. This will be so meaningful for mandolin repertoire because it will become immediately one of the most important pieces. And she kept delaying it. No, I don't know, I'm too busy. Now I'm writing an opera, and now I'm writing this and that. And I kept calling her every time I went to the United States. I was calling her, let's meet for coffee, let's meet for lunch.
Avi again.
Exactly. Until, after 3 years, she lives in Philadelphia, and I was visiting, I had a concert in Philadelphia. She couldn't come to the concert. She said, look, tomorrow morning, I take a train at 11 in the morning. If you come to the train station in Philadelphia at 11:15, I have 10 minutes for you. I said, okay, I'll take it.
But you went.
I went to the train station, and there is a beautiful train station, historic landmark.
Right.
But a lot of people, a lot of kind of white noise, and I said, "Hi, Jennifer, nice to meet you." Hi, and I just took the mandolin and I started to play Bach to her.
In the public?
In the public. And I played for this piece is maybe 3 minutes, and then she said like, "Okay, I'll write you a concerto."
But I think it's very clever what you did. Of course, one has to be brave, have courage to play in a public place.
Yeah.
But you did, and everybody had to watch you.
Yeah,
right?
it was really beautiful because it felt like, all the noise was like kind of disappearing. It was a really beautiful
I can imagine
moment.
everybody just stopped talking and just watching you and listening to you. And Jennifer was captivated.
Yeah, and she wrote a concerto. I premiered it last year, and it's a wonderful piece. I love it.
But is it then it's very modern, right?
Yes, it is modern. Now in contemporary music, you have very different kinds of languages.
It's huge.
There is from the new tonal to avant-garde, everything in the spectrum. Jennifer Higdon is it's amazing music actually, but I think it's music that everyone can connect to.
And I remember there is a very special title, one of your CD, Avital meets Avital.
Ah, that's right.
You are exclusive artist in DG, Deutsche Grammophon. And probably that CD is the 7th one.
Yes.
And there are many others, and among them, Avital meets Avital. And the other Avital is actually jazz musician, if I remember
Exactly.
right? Bass player,
A bass
right?
player, jazz musician.
Is he your
His name is-
relative?
No,
No?
everyone make the assumption that he's my brother. He's
Exactly.
not. Omer Avital. We have the same family name. It's a coincidence, but also not entirely a coincidence because he's an amazing musician. I knew him for a long time, and we wanted to always we were playing with the idea of doing something together
Really?
because he's a jazz and I'm more classical, but I also play some jazz and he also plays some classical. We try to think what will be the meeting point. What kind of project it will be. And we started to workshop, to work together, and then suddenly our identity, our cultural heritage is the one that brought us together. So Avital, our surname, is typical surname. It's not very common, but it is typical for Moroccan Jewish people. So my parents come from Morocco, they're Jewish, and his parents too. So this is why the same family name. And suddenly in this project, into the Israeli jazz language came in a lot of our kind of cultural memories, Moroccan music, African rhythms, North African melodies, that are part of our upbringing. And so that was a bit the theme that got us together. And the album Avital meets Avital, it's very, you have to listen. You have to listen.
I love it actually.
But it has a lot of percussions and a lot of very rhythmical.
There is one piece it calls Morocco.
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
It brings, I can imagine how the country would be,
Yes, and it's based on a typical Moroccan rhythm.
Ah, yeah. This kind of experimental project you bring, because I think that's a kind of advantage of with this instrument. That's why you can spread out your all this imagination and creativity through this instrument, right?
Yes, I think two things, because first of all, it's me. I'm always curious about other music. I always like to listen, to have to experience when I travel a lot, to experience different kinds of music, not to play only classical music.
Right.
And also the fact that I didn't have to follow a path in my career. As I said, if I was a pianist, I would be
Exactly.
following a thread. But it was more creative freedom for me.
You make
as
the
a
path
mandolin.
now.
Exactly, for myself. This is for myself, but also the mandolin, also from the instrument, being an instrument that is so much at home in classical music, yes, but also in different kind of traditional music, in American bluegrass, in Italian folk songs, in Brazilian music, in Irish music. You have the mandolin or the sound of a mandolin in so many folklore. So it's also a sound of the Middle East. It's also a sound of, East Europe. It's also a sound of the Mediterranean, Italy, Greece, Spain. It's also sound of the Americas. It can be many things, the sound of the mandolin. So this also lends itself to play folk music, traditional music of different genres.
This instrument met the right person for. Wow. So this program is Ombra Mai Fu, and we invite artists, and like Ombra Mai Fu means we want artists to have a little rest, sweet rest here. And behind of you, there is a little tree with leaves. There is a motion. We said the next chapter is Ombra Mai Q. That's the name. Can we shout Ombra Mai Fu together? And
Yes.
then Ombra Mai Q.
I choose this one.
Okay.
I don't
It's
know
in
what you
Korean, so I have to. So, my role model.
I think my father. Yes. He's not a musician, but I think my father is very positive person. He's very calm, very zen, and very friendly. And every time he says, even if there is a difficulty or something, don't worry, we shall overcome. And I think this is this is the voice that I have in my head.
Maybe you have got it also from your father, because I see you in both, because you are excited for many projects, many ideas, but at the same time, you look like so relaxed.
I'm a relaxed person.
Yeah, I think that comes from your father.
Probably, yes.
Where is he now?
He is now actually, as we speak, he's on a plane to Berlin. He comes with my mother. Both my parents come to visit.
Yay!
And tomorrow I fly to Berlin, back home, and I will see them. We'll spend some days together.
Could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can I ask you, maybe could you send a video message to your father? He's on the plane, and
Yes.
Maybe a short message to your father?
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Mommy. I cannot exclude.
Sure.
I hope you're having a great flight. I hope you have a nice landing. And I look forward to see you tomorrow at this time, actually.
Yeah, that's so sweet. And they will watch it in 2
After,
weeks.
yeah, after they go back. I hope you had a nice time with me.
Exactly. Could you pick one or two
Okay.
more? Yeah, that's still a mystery. Maybe 3 persons who you're most thankful to in your life.
My son.
Oh.
Yes. I'm thankful for this experience because it kind of opened another room in my heart. I'm thankful for my teacher, Simcha Natanzon, who gave me the beautiful gift of music. And can I do 4?
Okay, exception. 4.
Well, my parents, of course, I'm repeating, but for everything they gave me and the example they gave me. And for my wife, for my partner. It's all together makes my life, yes.
Of course, they're a special person. The lost.
This one, I have a feeling about it.
Haha, lucky one.
Short one.
You're picked by Avi. You have any jinx?
Jinx,
Yes.
like superstitious?
Yes.
No, because I used to have. I used to have all kind of things in the beginning,
For
like
example?
entering the stage with the right hand. And,
Really?
and I went on stage and I started to play, and then I think, did I enter with the right or did I enter with the left? Did I enter with the... And I'm playing, and all I can think of is like, is this going to be a bad concert now? Because maybe I enter with the left. So I said, okay, I don't need this. It's going to be a great concert and something less to think about. And so I'm not a very superstitious person. I do like some rituals before the concert just to get in the role. For example, this is very simple. I love ironing my shirt. Yes.
Oh, you do yourself?
Yes. Yes, if you need, if anyone, I love it. It's like a meditation for me.
That's true.
And before a concert, in the dressing room, I always iron my shirt. It's kind of somehow relaxing.
Right.
And it's also, you know, there's something about when you dress to a concert, you become the musician. It's like everyone who dresses
It's a ritual.
as a role, you know. It means that now my job, now I'm in a role, and my role is to play music to you, to generate an experience to you. So of course also when a priest get dressed, or a rabbi, or a basketball player, or a judge, or a bus driver, it just defines that now this is your role. It defines your relationship between the people you serve and yourself. And for musicians, it's also important to remember that you serve the people. The people are not there for you. You are there for the people.
Exactly.
And ironing the shirt and getting dressed to the concert helps me get into this
That's
position.
nice. I'm following you, of course, whatever you do, and on your feed of social networks. Everywhere you go, the concert is sold out, and you have so many concerts. I mean, I think you travel almost every day.
I do have a lot of concerts. I think I play around 100 concerts every year.
And people looked so happy. And there's one thing I really liked what you did after the concert. You just sit to the stage and make a selfie with the audience together.
Well, true, but not true. It's the opposite of a selfie. It's the anti-selfie. What I do, and I used to do it much more in the past, but in the last bow, when I play after the encore and everything, the last time I go on stage, I would bow to the audience, and then I would take a quick picture of the audience. And I think, the message that, and everyone of course laughs because they don't expect it, you know, it's
Right.
like, and it's exactly this flipping of
role.
you know, the roles, because I saw in many concerts people coming and they take a picture, of course, and they come with this energy that they, of course, they are grateful for the artists of the experience that they give them. So, but my message with this photo is that for me is also a very memorable night. For me, it's also, I'm also grateful for this moment. I am here for you.
Yeah,
and
we want to remember.
And I want to remember, and I will remember this evening for you. And I'm as grateful of the situation. I think that's what I'm trying. If I do it with myself, they wouldn't ruin
Oh, why
the
not?
message. Yeah, it was about
not?
myself. No.
Because I've seen many times for pop concerts after the
yeah.
at the end of the concerts somebody's taking a picture with the musicians and the audience, and it's actually very nice. But
It is,
as a
yeah,
classical musician, nobody dares actually because it's kind of no, because it's not the attitude for the classical musicians. But in the moment you did it, it looked so natural. Somehow it's so of course, because it's Avi maybe.
Yeah.
And I did it several times also.
Oh, great, amazing.
But actually it's nice. Of course I asked them if I can do it, and, but actually they loved it.
Yes, they enjoy because I think they really they realize that they are, you know, they're also important in this space.
So you're not only the mandolin ambassador or revolutionary mandolin player, but also you changed also some kind of music scenes. I think it's really important and nice. Could you tell us as a last about your new album?
Yes. So this is really new. It's out since a week or so, and it's called Concertos.
You can pick it. It's yours.
Yes. I haven't even had time to look at the booklet and everything.
You see.
But I'm very proud of it. This is with Il Giardino Armonico. Il Giardino Armonico is probably my favorite Baroque ensemble.
Amazing musicians.
I've admired them since I'm in high school practically. And it was always a dream for me to work with them. And now we are touring. I mean, we're playing, as you know, we play now in Seoul with them. And we chose the 5 concertos that we loved the most to this album.
You choose together the repertoire?
Yes. So there is Vivaldi, Bach, and then Hummel, Barbella, Paisiello. These are the two Napolitan composers. And I'm happy about this. I'm proud about this.
This was the concert last night and also, of course, tonight. I loved so much this concerto for both mandolin and recorder.
Yes.
Of course, it's not the original instrument.
Exactly, yeah. That's by Bach. It's original for violin and oboe. And we thought of, mandolin replacing the violin is easy. And then I thought because Antonini, the conductor of Giardino Armonico,
is a fantastic recorder.
Conductor and a record player. So we thought of doing this together. It gives it a little bit lighter context than violin and oboe. Mandolin and recorder is a bit, he likes to call it toy instruments.
What?
Toy
instruments.
Classroom instruments. But it gives it a little bit of a lighter.
It's beautiful. It was really brilliant, and it makes us all happy. And I thought, I mean, one can consider it might be the original ones, but I mean, nobody will doubt, because it was so natural.
Well, if Bach was alive, I would pursue him and convince him.
You will. 3 years long, you're calling him and...
It was like, okay, enough.
That's true. I'm so happy that I have you here, and with this Hanwha Classic, we had a chance to invite you guys, the most exceptional, amazing musicians to Korea, to introduce Baroque music as well. And for the people who were here in this concert, and maybe who just missed because they didn't have time, any message to them?
Well, I surely hope to be back in Seoul, in Korea soon. It's a place I love. I think it's the 4th or 5th time. I always look forward to come back. So I hope to see you next time.
Yay!
And you too.
Yay, of course. There is one last corner in our program.
Nice.
It's kind of a significant one. There is a video message to your future. So you can just tell your futures Avi Avital.
Hi, future Avi Avital. Just a reminder that the gift of music is such a beautiful gift that you can share with other people. So always acknowledge that, always enjoy, and do it with a smile on your face.
You will. You will. We were so happy. How were you? How was it for you?
Fantastic. Thank you
Really?
very
You
much.
liked it?
Lovely to spend time with you to talk. Thank you for having me on this show.
And
Really
thank you
enjoyed it.
so much for playing spontaneously and explain all those details and letting me play your instrument.
I love the Mozart song. We should, we should perform it.
We should do that really, the all two.
Yeah, the entire Mozart
exactly.
opus for mandolin.
Why not?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you
very
so much.
Thank you.
만돌린이라는 악기에 있어서 아비 아비탈은 그 혁명과도 같은 존재인 것 같습니다. 우리가 잊고 있었던 많은 만돌린 작품들을 이 세상에 다시 꺼내와서 살게 했고요. 또 여전히 이 만돌린으로 보여줄 많은 음악들이 있다고 설레어하는 그의 모습에서 진정한 음악인의 모습이 느껴집니다. 아비 아비탈 만돌리니스트의 연주 들으시면서 오늘 옴브라 마이 푸 이만 마치겠습니다. 진행의 임선혜였습니다. 고맙습니다. 옴브라 마이 푸.